you're seeing us on Money Control. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. The Union Budget 2021 is just round the corner. Wish list expectations are many from the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. Of course, this year has been unprecedented and chartered territories for many of us in many ways, but it's also taught us a lot. So, of course, the idea now is to look forward to 2021, whether it's about jobs, whether it's about economy. So, today we thought we'll do something fun. We'll get the young minds together in terms of what is their wish list from the Finance Minister and the Union Budget, because remember, the education sector, for one, has been impacted very, very deeply. We have a very interesting bunch that's joining me. I have with me Alina, Arunima, Rahul, Sudhanshu, as well as Alicia. Good to have all of you with us. I'd like to begin with the ladies. Alicia, let me begin with you. Of course, this year has been very, very difficult, but also challenging and as an opportunity also in many ways. One, I want to understand from you, just to kick things off, what has been your biggest learning this year?
Biggest learning is to be self-reliant, Atmanirbhar, because this is something that we've been seeing a lot this year. My mental health has changed. The landscape of everything has changed, from jobs to education to every sector has changed. So change is necessary. I would believe that change is necessary, and we would just have to keep moving forward no matter what comes our way. So that has been my biggest learning.
Okay, now let's get to what is on the top of your wish list from the finance minister. You all are young guys. You'll move into the job market, very, very soon. So, what is the top priority for you?
According to me, upskilling programs should be given a priority, because in the last 5 union budgets, we've been seeing that less than 4% of the annual budget has been spending on, youth-focused schemes. So I would really suggest to focus on schemes through NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, schemes like Pradhan Mantri, Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and Rozgar Mela. All of them should be given a priority, because people have lost jobs, there have been small businesses shut. So this is an opportunity for us to, boost employment by upskilling.
Okay, upskilling, that's the first wish list that's coming in. This year, of course, has bruised and battered a lot of industries. It's also given a lot of opportunities. So do you then think opportunity should be the way how we look forward as far as 2021 is concerned?
We should be looking at the opportunities, but not maybe just for 2021, but how we really look at the budget, how it's placed. I think, and a lot of many youth advocates think, that it's time we figure out that instead of on an annual basis, what the current or upcoming union budget is providing for young people, and where the gaps are, we have to think of the institutional gap for youth development and the funds that go along with it, right? And the substantial disconnect between the government and this youth demographic. Again, there are 670 million people below the age of 29. We contribute 34% of the gross national income, which obviously goes into the GDP. So it's a substantial youth demographic. And when you're talking about wish lists, I think there are two big wish lists that youth advocates have. One is we truly empower the Youth Affairs Ministry. And when I say empower, I mean you give it a substantial budget. According to the past 3 years of the average, the Youth Affairs Department has gotten around 470 to 500 crore rupees each. Now, when you compare that with ministries like the Ayush Ministry, which got 1,600 crore rupees, or when you think about the Ganga Rejuvenation Ministry, which got over 6,000 crore rupees, it's substantially less.
As a young, professional, as a young student who wants to enter the job market, this year, of course, has been daunting in many ways, because it's also got an uncertain sword hanging, which is whether when I move into the professional world, will I have enough job? Will I have enough cash in my hand? Are those some of the concerns that you want the finance minister to address?
I feel the new education policy that's also been recently introduced provides a good framework to address this issue. And simply because India has been known in the past as a Vishwa Guru. And to be able to redeem that status and to, for instance, not just invite foreign universities to enter in India, but also ensuring that Indian universities are able to collaborate abroad will truly help in chisel the education and skill development requirements of the youth in India. So I think that is one very critical point which will help us attain that prime status, because cost of education in India, it's almost like medical tourism. It's very, very low, and we'll be able to provide the same level of global quality that one finds abroad at a tenth of the cost. So, when someone comes to India as a medical tourist wanting, let's say, a heart surgery, they could possibly look at India as an education hub in future. So I think the budget should primarily focus. Should sort of gravitate in that direction as well.
When students are studying, they think that we'll wait till the time we enter the professional world. But when something like the pandemic hits, everything is thrown out of gear. You don't know when your exams will happen. You don't know how the job market will really look like. What is the biggest concern for you today?
The unemployment rate is the biggest concern of the Indian youth right now. 7.8% in November 2020 was the unemployment rate in India. I think that the government really needs to focus on a holistic development of the society. When you see that people from a marginal background, from underprivileged backgrounds, I don't think that they will be able to pay that sort of a fee to go to universities that are going to come. So the government needs to look at the infrastructure, the kind of focus the local universities and the national universities need at the moment. Also, the education budget for 2020 was 99 crores. So even after that, there was a whole lot of unemployment in the country. Even after that, so job creation needs to be focused upon. Labor intensive technology needs to be focused upon in the time of Corona.
Other than jobs, upskilling, the need to have a little more clarity that when we step out into the professional world, we'll have something waiting for. Other than that, you've spoken to a lot of students as well. What is the other resonating theme with them? Are they looking at least at a lot more allocation than what we had in the previous budgets?
I don't think that, let's say, for example, we need to harp on, let's say, the youth unemployment rate. What concerns me personally the most is the Youth Development Index, which is a holistic measure of how young people are doing. And we actually configure 140 out of 170 countries. That's absolutely shameless at this point. And that's taking into consideration our mental health. That's taking into consideration youth suicides. That's taking consideration into job prospects as well. And we all obviously aren't doing that well. So it's more so the holistic development. And as I was talking about before, to meet that gap, we need to have more, if not youth representation, a way for young people to actually channelize and vocalize those concerns. So when we're talking about the budget here, are our voices being channelized there? Again, I don't want to compare, but the city of Boston actually earmarks a certain percentage of its budget to be decided by young people, because they realize that their biggest demographic in Boston are students and young people.
Which is the same in India as well. The largest chunk of our majority is our youth population. Thus, they need to be the deciding factors on what we'll see in these big, terminologies that we usually throw around. I agree. I think that's a very, very fair point. And that's why we decided to get a bunch of you together to understand what the youth really wants, because usually the budget conversations are around these, long terms and terminologies that we see, allocations, the state fighting with the center. But what's really happening on the ground are what the young minds want. Alicia, I want to come back to you, and I want to deviate a little bit and also talk about what this year has really done to the youth. Of course, it's not just the concerns that they've had about the professional world, about educational prospects, but about mental health as well. That's been a recurrent theme with a lot of youngsters this year because of the uncertainty and stress that we've had. Would you also feel it's time that we need to have more open conversations about that as well?
Of course, Ridhima, I think mental health is something that has been deteriorated in the last few months, and it has affected all of us, including you, including me. And it is mostly because of the uncertainty in our professional lives as well as our personal lives. Lockdown adds to it, and the pandemic, the stress, the risk of infection, everything just adds to it. So we really need to destigmatize our mental health conversations, and some of us have been doing it on social media. Some of us have been coming up with blogs and new activities we can do online so that we can keep ourselves cheered up, motivated. But for how long? We should really come out with a solution as well. So
About
that's
this
something.
on official platforms, as you rightly pointed out, to
Right.
destigmatize something which is very, very normal and a part of most of our lives.
We're entering the job market in a scenario where people are facing increasing job losses and pay cuts, and so our disposable income in a sense is taken a hit, but at the same time medical bills are spiking, and so we can say that there's a bit of an imbalance. So towards that end, if Ms. Sitharaman could look at tax cuts or tax relief in general, that would be an added advantage.
You also have the new salary wage code, which also could impact your in-hand salary. Tax redemptions, tax. This is something that the Aam Aadmi or the common man has on the top of their list every year. Of course, last year we didn't see much changes to these slabs. Hoping this year we can actually see some sort of a relief there. But the essential recurring themes from the young minds, the youth, is jobs, upskilling, as well as some sort of surety of what happens when they move out into this professional world. I'm completely out of time, but it's been a pleasure having all of you. We'll have to wait and see how many of these wishes actually come true when the finance minister addresses the nation with the Union Budget 2021. Thank you so much.